She brought in an extra $8,000 from one round of mini sessions, and we are unpacking exactly how she did that today. Hello, sunshine, and welcome back to the Gold Biz Podcast with me, your host, Rachel Traxler. In today's episode, we're talking about how to price and book mini sessions for a profit. So if you're someone who has been toying around with the idea of mini sessions but not sure how to do it, or feeling like mini sessions don't really fit your business model, this is a really good episode because we're talking all about how to effectively communicate the value of mini sessions, then how to effectively market and promote your mini sessions. So today with me, I have Kayla Brint. She is a mini session mastermind, and I'm really excited to have her on for this topic because she is bringing all the good stuff for this episode. But before we get started, make sure if you haven't already to leave a review on the Gold Biz Podcast so that I can see what you're loving the most and then also share the love in return with it. But as always, we've got a lot to cover and I like to hit it hard with the good stuff right away. So let's dive into it. Okay, Kayla, let's dive into it. I'm really excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be the best.
I know. I feel like we're both just like holding back our excitement. I'm like,
yes, yes, exactly.
This is going to be a really, really fun episode. And I can just tell like you're going to have all the fun things because I feel like people have mixed thoughts and reviews on do I do mini sessions or not? And it might have something to do with the experience they want to provide. It might have something to do with like they just don't know how to do it or they've tried to market it in the past and the demand wasn't there. There's lots of reasons. And I think there's no right or wrong, but I just love hearing all perspectives on just all the things. And so we're going to talk a little bit about like the pricing, like how to have it priced and structured that way. And then moving on to like the booking and the marketing side of it. First of all, just like, let's start with the pricing aspects. I feel like before you price, you have to kind of like clearly communicate the value in which it provides to. Otherwise, like you're going to throw a price out there and the people are going to be like, what? So you have to kind of communicate that. How do you like to encourage that and communicate the value?
Okay, so here's the thing. Like people, when it comes to mini sessions and pricing, I'm guilty of this too. So when I say this, if this is you, there is no shame. But one thing that photographers tend to do is they go, okay, like this person's charging this, I'm going to charge around that amount, maybe a little bit lesser just to be competitive. And that's their pricing strategy. Like that was it. That is the absolute worst pricing strategy ever. So whenever we price our mini sessions, and the way I teach pricing mini sessions is you're starting with your profit. So like, how much do you want to make? For you, your answer and my answer could be totally different for different reasons. And that is totally fine. So start with like, how much do you want to make? Then how much did it cost you to put on? So if you were to put on a mini session and I were to put on a mini session, they would be two totally different spending. You could have all the things and all the backdrops and the most expensive of everything, where mine could be completely simple and clean in my studio. There's two different aspects to that. So that's where I start. I start with the profit that you want to make. That's huge because that's why people stray away from them because they're like, this is not worth the money. Well, if it's not worth the money, then it probably has to do with your pricing strategy. You didn't price that in there to make the money that you wanted to make it worth your time. So start there. How much do you want to make? What are your expenses? Add those together and divide by the number of sessions that you're going to take. And then that is your number. And you will be shocked at how affordable it is. Or you can offer fewer sessions, make them a little bit higher, but then the scarcity is there. Like only 5 spots. Like that is how you build them up. And then to go into people who say, like the first thing that you said, like people really are put off by them. I so feel that. Whenever I first started my photography business, that's kind of what everybody was doing. So I did it too. I didn't make any money and I got all the wrong clients. And these are people who wanted the world and pay absolutely nothing. And I didn't do them for years. We're talking from the time that I started in my home and then I rented a studio and now I have a custom built studio on our property. The whole time I did not do mini sessions until the pandemic hit. And then when the pandemic hit, I'm a luxury photographer. So my price point per client is around that $1,500 to $2,000 mark. Nobody was paying those prices during the pandemic. Nobody, because we didn't know it was coming. And so I had to get scrappy, and I followed my mini session like pricing model to come up with that. And I started offering mini sessions, but doing it in a way that built my business and brought in the clients that I loved. And I got paid really well for it.
So what I'm hearing is, in terms of pricing, a lot to unpack there, but in terms of pricing, you're saying work backwards, figuring out your expenses first. If you don't feel like you're making what you wanted to, it's probably because you're just basing it off of what other people are doing. You're not running your own numbers. Like, big fan of making sure you do that. So that's what I'm kind of hearing with that.
Absolutely. That's where, if anything, you need to start there, because it doesn't matter how well you market, which it's all about. I love the whole aspect of marketing mini sessions. I have a whole program on that. So it's not that that's not important, but if you market to a session and the price point isn't going to make you profitable, then you're going to be like, this wasn't worth it. I didn't make much money. So start with your numbers. And like I said, what do you want to make? Plus, how much did it cost you to put on? And then divide that by the number of sessions that you want. There is your cost per session. And round that up a little bit, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in
And I
case.
love that too, because you're saying you are like, you err more on like the luxury side of like a higher end photographer, but you're still offering mini sessions because of the way you're communicating that value and the experience you're saying that you're providing. And so I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't offer mini sessions because I want to serve my clients deeper and I want to have like more of a higher end luxury vibe to my brand. You are a walking example that both can be done.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest like pushbacks that I get on mini sessions is it's luxury photographers, especially the ones who do in-person sales. So if you aren't familiar with in-person sales, for anybody listening, that's just where you take the pictures and then they come back for an appointment and then you show them the pictures and then they can buy any kind of heirlooms or prints or maybe in the digital files in person. And because of the experience, they're always more expensive. Rightly so. I have done in-person sales, and that's actually all I did in my studio current before this one. And I totally 100% understand where those people are coming from. They're like, I have this to maintain. And they do, because they are charging thousands of dollars. So they have this like reputation to hold up, and they don't want mini session shoppers. I very much challenge that. And I say, listen, you are that photographer. You have proven that. There are people who would absolutely love to work with you, but they don't have the budget for it. Those will be the clients who are your singing, raving fans. Those are the ones who are like, man, this is my opportunity to work with her. No, I can't afford $2,000 for a full session, but I can afford $200 for a mini session. And what happens is those people go out and they're your biggest fans. They tell everybody, sure, most of their friends might not be able to afford you as well, but there will be people who do. And just that rapport and just that reputation of like, I can't afford this, but this photographer does offer this that I can. It's just a way to get in the community and to get buzz. So whenever you're doing mini sessions, even as a luxury photographer, I'm doing boom, 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 back to back to back. And I'm making it such a good experience. People are posting about it on social media. So that reach just organically is happening and people are talking about it, and that reaches other people who are your ideal clients. And what happens is they book a mini session later and then they become the ones who can afford you. That, and I hate saying it that way, because some people can afford you, they just don't value it. But the people who do budget that money for photography, they will be your clients. I have gotten full service clients based off of a mini session. They come here for the first time. I offered incredible experience. And then they're like, I want more of this. It's worked really, really well for me. And it's one of my, every time I do a mini session, it's one of my favorite days. And with luxury photography or any kind of photography, it's trading time for money. And for my biggest session, not all of my mini sessions, for my mini sessions, I can make $8,000 in one day. That's one day of childcare. That's one dinner missed. It would take me several sessions to make that amount and to be away from my family. So it's really just looking at it that way. I encourage it, try it, do it, and do it with the mentality of I am going to offer such a good experience. I'm going to do such a good job and I'm going to serve people who really want to work with me.
That's such a good point too, because I do feel like people think, oh, if I do offer mini sessions, I don't want to attract the type of clientele that would normally book me, or the type of clientele I wasn't, not shooting for. And like that just kind of puts down that misconception. There are people that are your ideal clients, and it's just not all about the money. Like your ideal clients, like you said, sometimes people are just budgeting for certain things, and maybe like your mini sessions fit their budget more, but they are like your ideal client and they might come back for more. Like you said, giving that good experience and all of that stuff too. And just knowing that that's an option. So it's not, you don't always just have to focus on targeting like price shoppers or like lower budget clients and people. They can be your ideal clients.
Absolutely. And something that I do, and what's so funny, if anybody is local, any photographers that are local to Texarkana that's listening to this, I mean, it just is the truth. And I live in Texarkana, which is a city that lies on the border of Texas and Arkansas. But coming from a pricing standpoint, what you can do is you can set your mini sessions where they are higher than the norm. So that does, like, if somebody's a price stopper, there's no city that's an exception. Like there's photographers and an overload of them in every city.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no city. Everybody thinks their city is like the special snowflake of like my town has so many photographers. They all do.
They all
Every one of us, small, big. But what happens is you can like set your price point higher. So you are making a little more, and price shoppers will just go with a more
Yep.
affordable photographer. But what ends up happening, and what's happened in my town, is I price my mini sessions around the $200 mark. And I will say for the rest of the country, I live in an area, the cost of living is very affordable around here. So in New York City, $200 is nothing. This would be more like a $400 session, but $200 down here is quite a bit of money. And what has happened is all of the mini sessions in my town, all the photographers are at the $200 level. So I've raised the bar, which is great. I am so thankful for that. I'm glad they're making more money. They have to up their experience level because nobody's going to pay that
Yeah.
and not get a good experience, good photos from it. So it's just all good all the way around. So I would encourage, especially those luxury photographers, to charge higher, offer an amazing experience however you want to do that. And there's a gazillion ways that you can offer a good experience. It's just getting very creative with it, see what resources you do have, collaborate with other local businesses. That's a really good avenue to go down. There's a lot of ways to do it, but sit down and think about it. A big issue with mini sessions that photographers make is they put mini effort into it and they expect to make thousands of dollars. They're like, oh, I'm going to do a mini session. Kayla says I can make thousands of dollars. She does it. Kayla also spends a whole lot of work on the front end, like getting everything ready, making sure the experience is really good. I have a marketing strategy, which once you got it created, I just repeat it time and time again, but it still takes time. It still takes effort. So sitting down and thinking, how can I make this experience the best I possibly can for my clients to justify the price point? It's huge.
If you haven't built that brand reputation and that experience up, you can't just like dive into it. You do have to like build that social proof, build that client, like the reputation and all of that stuff. So don't be discouraged if you do it once and it flops. Like it might take a few times to do, and just like sticking with it.
Oh, absolutely. I've had mini sessions that just don't do great, or I just don't like them.
Yeah.
And once I figured out that I do not like doing mini sessions where I cannot control the elements that are going on. Like one time we pretty much essentially live on a farm. And so we have every spring chicks. And so I was like, I'm going to invite people to come in the studio and take like Easter pictures with the chicks. Oh, absolutely not. I'll never do that again. Never, 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 never. Some kids are like, that's creepy. I don't like that. And I got a lot of different responses. The children, like they needed more time to warm up to the creatures themselves. I get it. Now I get it. But
Yeah.
that was not, and that was just last year too. So I'm still learning, constantly experiment with them, try new things, and try to do things to get a leg up is to try to do something that the rest of your town, your market is not doing. Is there something that you're not seeing a lot of? Is there a trend that you don't want to follow, like, oh, everybody's doing these kinds of sessions. Okay, maybe you should avoid that because that's saturated, and find your own thing to do.
I'm interrupting my own episode to give you a quick glimpse into my signature coaching program created for established photographers wanting to double to quadruple their prices, book their highest package, and bring in inquiries consistently. This is my high level container of go-to photographers who are making huge waves in the industry. And the biggest difference in this program is that we get a full 12 months together for deep dive transformation, weekly coaching call support, 4 coaches in the program to deep dive into specific topics, and a content retreat, all included in one program. And I always say, if you can book one extra wedding from your year in the program together, you're going to see your ROI. And it's just the weekly norm wins for my students. So I'm fully confident that you're going to be able to do that and way, way more. And this is an application, phone call, and acceptance process only type of program. So if you are curious if this is the right next steps for you to just blow up your business this year, you can fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply or get the link in the show notes. I'll be in touch shortly after you fill it out so that we can talk through together if this is the right fit for you. I'm very honest with people and I want this to be a great fit for everyone involved. That's just my heart behind the way I do this process. And I also think that's why my students just see so much success in this program. So don't just be an information consumption overload this year. I want you to be an action taker and start implementing change into your business. So again, if this feels aligned to you, fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply to apply for my Passion to Profit coaching program. Yeah. And that's also where you're going to feel like competitive with pricing too, feeling like you need to match like what the area is, where it's like you are going to feel more confident charging more if you're like, well, no one else can get this experience I'm providing, this type of session I'm providing. Therefore, I can charge more and I feel good about it because I know that they can't get it anywhere else. So that
Absolutely.
is a bonus little tip too.
That is so good. That's absolutely right, because like you're in a category of 1 at that point. Like it is just you and that is it. And so literally the price point, while it does matter, but you can't just charge whatever. I
Right.
say that you kind of can test whatever, not to say it's going to be profitable or not profitable, but constantly testing and modifying and adjusting. And the first time you do it, don't judge it based on that, especially the annual session. Because the first time they're kind of like, wait, what? What is this? Do you have pictures to show from it? People want to see.
Right.
And so it may or may not do as well when you don't have as much to show for it. So the next year could do better. This is a long game. Mini sessions are a long game. I have had super success out of the box on some of them. I had a Santa session. I had never done them. I found a watercolor picture of Santa because I wasn't going to hire Santa for an hour to do a model call. And so I found this watercolor of a Santa. I was like, I'm doing Santa sessions, and it sold out just because I marketed it just right. But I also have a reputation. So I have a reputation. They know my style. They knew I was going to nail it.
Yeah.
And they purchased it. And that was the first time. But the next year, I doubled my profit. The first year I made, let's see. I know my goal was around $3,000. That was my profit. I wanted to make $3,000. And then Santa cost so much. I ended up making $5 in total. And then the next year I was like, I want $5,000 to profit. Let me see if I can do it. Let me try. I offered more sessions. And that's the one that I ended up making almost $8,000 on in a small town. But that was my second year. Then they saw the pictures and they were like, those are good. That's what I want for my Santa pictures. And I made the experience really good. I have a horse and a mule, and Santa brought reindeer food from the North Pole. So after they got done, the kids were really good. Santa gave them reindeer food and they got to go feed the horses. It's a whole experience, and the kids love it. The parents love it. And it makes for some of the best pictures
from start to finish. It's like a storytelling experience that people want in on, which is awesome. We've kind of talked on pricing and all of that stuff, kind of touched on marketing. So now how are we going to market it? And then what is the booking process with it? So with marketing, how do you suggest we go about marketing the mini sessions?
There's a lot of different ways to go about. Of course, just like anything, there's a ton of different ways to skin a cat here. I'm from the South. Sorry if that wasn't the best analogy there, but that is what we say down here, and there are a lot of different ways to come at it. I recommend, especially if you're new to this, if you're new to mini sessions or new to photography, or like this is just a new session that you're doing, you've done mini sessions in the past, but not this particular one, you want to make some noise. Like, let's be loud about it, post everywhere about it. I 10 out of 10 recommend having an email list of of your clients, past clients, clients who have inquired because maybe they couldn't afford you, but they could afford this. So all of those people, be collecting that, and you're going to be talking about it everywhere. So that is one of the big, huge things. And then there's this whole, I call it, it's my mini session blueprint. And I could go on all day about the blueprint and how every step that I do, but essentially to like a broad overview of it is you want to be talking about your mini session well before they can even register for the mini session. You need to really warm them up to the idea of like, hey, this is coming, get excited about this, and then open up a registration for it, and then all the things. So make a lot of noise. I see photographers only post about it a couple of times, and then they get disappointed that it didn't sell. Y'all, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're at, it's very, very noisy, and people need to see stuff a few times before they even think about purchasing. So go make some noise.
Yes, I love that you say that too, because I think people are like, oh, I already posted about it here. I don't want to be annoying or I sound like a broken record. It's like, no, you need to post about it often. And also, you don't know where people are consuming their content, even if they do see by happenstance, see your content. Like, you need to be posting it on like multiple platforms, multiple times, talking about it. Like you said, I love that you made the point well before you're actually going to market and open your books for them, even too. Like, because like if you can create that hype or like momentum and start that hype early, then when your books do open, I feel like they fill up quicker because people have been waiting for it. And so I love that you made that point. I think that that's crucial.
Exactly. And another big, huge tip that I would give people is this is just like business 101, marketing 101, which that is like my nerd status. I love business and I love learning about business. And a huge thing that you can leverage with mini sessions is scarcity and urgency. So if you are wanting to offer your session and this is the first time, don't offer many spots. Like, yes, this time you might not be your most profitable, but if you only offer like 5 sessions, people are gonna be like, oh man, that's not many. Like, that's not many sessions. Want to get one. Sometimes people just need that to push them over the edge. And if you want to call that manipulation, you can, but it happens to me and you and everybody listening to this every single day. We have countdown timers on stuff. We have act now, buy now, going fast. Like, there's a reason why. It's just that one extra thing that we need to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so your clients might need that as well. So I recommend if you do a session, offer a few spots, just a few. Sell those out and talk about it. Oh, if you sell something out, you better get on social media like you are Taylor Swift and just talk about it. Like, it is sold out. It is done. And then you have one or two options there. You can either add more spots. You always have that option, or you can just talk about for a whole year or until you offer it next time. It's sold out. It's sold out. And you're marketing for the next time you offer it. I am offering this sold out session. Last year it sold out. That is huge. People really, really resonate with that and they hate FOMO. So they're going to purchase.
Yeah. And I think that's also a good point too, because if you think about it, like your time is sacred too. So like you truly can only get X amount of mini sessions in a day. So it's like, I don't even think of it as like super putting out urgency or scarcity. Like, I guess it is, but also like you can only do so much in that day too. So there truly is only this much time blocked out. But when you can leverage that in the way you're positioning it when you market, that's what's going to help create, like, I guess, more of that urgency vibe of like, you can say, hey, I'm doing a day of mini sessions. Or you can say, hey, I have 2 hours allotted where I've got 4 time slots available. When they're gone, they're gone. You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing, but it's how you're positioning it. And I think that's a big play in marketing and how like the messaging.
You're exactly right. The messaging is everything. The
Mm.
way you're putting it out there is everything. And I know a lot of people are listening to this. Like, these ladies have gone on and on and on about these mini sessions and the marketing of them. And like, there's a lot to it if you want them to be profitable. So this conversation that we're having here of all the different angles that we're looking at with it, that is why I have been able to be as profitable with mini sessions as I have, because I have addressed all of the different angles and I take them very seriously. All of it, nothing, like I said, I don't put many effort into mini sessions. If you do it right and do it well, then it will just time and time again. But that's just where, as photographers, we have to really do our part in offering a good experience for our
Yes.
clients, for before, during, after, make sure that we deliver them when we say we're going to deliver them, just doing your best and over delivering.
Yes, I love that. If you're familiar with the podcast often, you know I talk about that all the time. What's one piece of advice that you would give on just like the booking process? So now we've talked about pricing, you figured out your pricing, you have some marketing ideas that how you want to market it, how you want to position, talk about it. Now, what's a good way, like just to make the booking process seamless for people?
I would make sure to get your payment in full. That is another way that you can avoid getting people who are price shoppers. Go ahead and get your full payment for whatever it is up front. So it makes it easier for them so they know what to expect. You don't have to collect anything later and you get paid in full there. And also you could do an upsell later, but that is a different topic for a different day.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good point too. Then it makes you feel like, okay, yes, it's locked and loaded and you're reserving your spot. Not only reserving your spot, but it's like it's booked, it's solidified. Do you kind of have like the payment and the contract like all in one? Do you have it separately?
I have in my contract, they know that it's just this price gets them whatever it is. And the way that I have my mini sessions is that they get so many digital images for their sitting fee for that one price. Then they can choose to, after they see the gallery, to get other things depending on the session that I do. They can purchase the full gallery. Some people also have prints that they could purchase. There's a million ways to do that, but I highly recommend to have it some kind of upsell, because then you get paid essentially twice. So if you do a really good job on your session, they love the pictures, then they have something else that they can purchase later.
It's like a two-part step, but like let's
Yes.
just get you in and booked and solidified first. That is,
Yes.
and then you feel good about it, everything's set, and then you can work on your experience and do that like upsell options later, which I love that so much.
Yes, absolutely. So you essentially get paid twice. You get paid for the booking, the time that they book, but then also you do a really good job and have something for them to purchase on the back end. You get paid again. So
Oh,
it's really nice.
I love that. And then what's just kind of like one last final piece of advice that you want to leave us with?
I highly recommend, if you have not done mini sessions, or if you've done mini sessions and you've been like you've sworn them off, to try them again with a different filter of more of an experience mindset over a mini session mindset. I would just say go for it, do it really well, go all in on the marketing, go all in on the experience. And what ends up happening is you start having a really good time with it. Those days are some of my favorite days of the year.
Oh, I love it. Let's just do it. Let's go for it. If you're
Do
listening,
it.
like, I wonder if this is for me, just give it a go. That's
Just give it a go.
got nothing to lose.
Got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And for the pricing, I know that we talked about in the beginning, I have a free class for that that really breaks it down. And it has like all of the things I said, because I know some people are like, numbers, you said a lot. You talk really fast and you have a Southern accent. So I will get you that link. It's just my name, KaylaBrint.com/free class sign up. But I'm sure the link will be in the show notes.
Yes, I can definitely put it in there. And that's a really good resource for. So thank you for providing that for us. Why don't you tell us where we can find you?
I love to hang out on Instagram. So you can find me and my horses and my two boys and my husband and our farm and all of our bees and all the things on Instagram. It's just my name, Kayla Brint with an I, Brint. I'm also on Facebook, but I'm not as active there. And going back to mini sessions, it's so funny. I wish my people were on Instagram. They're not. They're on Facebook. So
Yeah,
I'm on Facebook for my clients. I'm on Instagram for myself.
I love it. Yep, you got to do all the things. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much, Kayla. I love this episode. Thank you so much for just coming
Thank you
on.
for having me. This was a blast.
You're so welcome. And there you have it. I really hope that you are taking notes from this episode and maybe even shifting your mindset. If you haven't run some mini sessions yet, that maybe this year is the time to try it and give it a try, give it a go. Hopefully that helped you how to figure out to communicate the value in your mini sessions, how to market and promote them, and then how to have a good booking process in the whole process as well. But if you loved this episode as much as I did, make sure you screenshot it and share it to your stories and tag me at Rachel Traxler so that I can see which episodes you're loving the most and then also share the love in return. But thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I appreciate you so much. Keep shining, and we'll see you next time.